Well, here it is. Every board game, I guess, needs a video. And this is Skippy, the Skippy game, I should say, from 1968. And this was the New Zealand version, or publishing. There's one New Zealand, one Australian. And here's what it looks like. And Skippy, for those who don't remember, was a TV show only filmed for 2 years. I remember in my childhood seemed to be on regular, constant repeats, but I guess having the young child star not growing into a 15, 17-year-old is probably a giveaway. So they made 90 episodes. So we're going to look at the Skippy game, which was released obviously at the time the show was quite popular. I'll take the lid off, and we have some pieces which we'll get to later, which we have to assemble. I used to have this when I was young, but we got it through eBay, and of course the person, when you buy games from eBay, the pieces are always missing, and what the person should have given me was a piece like that, and instead they gave me, I think it's the top of a toothpaste container or something like that, but you always get that. It's got the Sunny and Skippy pieces, which is always key for the theme of the game, and the board. So let's take a closer look at the board, and we'll come back to this once we've assembled it. So before we get started, the rules are within the game, which is, I guess, a bonus, because remember a lot of these older games, the rules are on the bottom, and you've got to keep looking underneath to try to read the rules. I always found that annoying. But as you can see here, the object and assembly of the game takes up half the text. Whilst the play, it's really, well, I won't say a roll and move game. It's more, as you'll see, a spin and move game. But the object thematically is to be the first player to race from Old Bush Road to Ranger Headquarters. So I'll have a quick look at the map. And essentially there are different squares if you happen to land on a square, which changes your movement, etc. But very much a passive game, no real strategy. You don't have many choices at all. So let's look at it assembled. So this is the base board, and there's a start, and there's a general flow, including the hidden valley, with dead ends to make the track not so completely linear, and depending sometimes on your spin, and there'll be a spinner which gets located here, and they're the various elements of the board, and if you can read it closely, these are all things that the thing might land on. Again, like snakes and ladders, really, I guess you spinning something, that's about your main involvement, and the rest of it essentially is watching the game unfold. So let's put the spinner on and see how it goes. So turn order is interesting. According to the rules, to determine turn order, players pick a space and put one of their pieces on the instructions, and then we spin the holder. So this is probably the most exciting thing of the game, because it's very much a rinse repeat. So here's the holder with the Skippy figures, and we'll put it here. And wow, I need to probably even bring this back so you can see it all in its glory. Let's move it forward, eh? And so here we go. And oops, try to spin this thing. But, my version rocks a bit. So according to this, the figure or the player which Skippy points to goes first. Go Skip. So it's the blue player, which was Skip. So blue player goes first. I've got a 3-player game, of course, because I don't like the idea of playing with a toothpaste top. And that's the game. So if I'm the blue player, I now have got to take this out. Oops. Let it spin backwards, and then put it back in and spin it. So you can see, I don't think the game conceptually was thought out well, because this is going to take forever to play this game. So you shove it in and go through. So basically the idea is each player asks Skip what to do, and we follow the instructions, and then we move around the board. So let's see where skip points. Go ahead 5 spaces. You can't read that, so let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we actually land on a Skippy. So our piece has landed here on Skippy. So I might need to move the board to get you to see. So we've landed on an Skippy. So blue's moved its piece, and again we turn this upside down and let it spin. I won't be doing a playthrough of this because you can understand it might take forever. Well, maybe I will. We'll speed it up. So here we go. And what are the other things you can have? So if you land on a bush trail picture, you do something else. So Skippy is saying move ahead 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. It's pretty blank. Let's go through this again. I might just speed this up and see how we go. Oh dear. Well, that took much longer than I thought. Thankfully I did it on a elapsed time, because that went for like 45 minutes, 3-player game, and it is so painful for many reasons. One of the reasons is because if you look at some of the suggested movement spaces, the game's really good to get you halfway. The hidden valley is up here, and you can land on the hidden valley if you just go here. So essentially you can get half the board covered within the first 2 or 3 moves, especially when you've got trade places with the furthest player ahead of you. So that's great. But then the second half, as you treacle down here, slows down greatly. And then when you get to around this area here, none of the things really work. You can't really, there are negative moves. You always go back to the nearest corner. The dead ends, there's no dead end in front of you. You don't want to trade places when behind you, so you miss a turn. So there's 1 move ahead 3 spaces. Hidden Valley doesn't apply anymore. There are no more picture squares. If you're on the same square, you can't really trade places with the furthest one in front of you. There are no koalas. There's no corner. You go back 3 squares. Go to the nearest picture square, doesn't work. Or go ahead 5. So there's only about 3 spots which help you, and maybe 2 which send you back. It is so painful. It is literally a tormenting time capsule from 1968. Really, just horrible. But let's be honest, the reason why this game exists and the reason why many people buy it is because of this doobie, which we'll spend last time. It's a bit like the wheel in the Game of Life. That's the only reason why this game exists. It's its unique nature about it, and if it had a redeeming feature. But oh dear, I played it, I guess, so you didn't have to play it. And that, my friends, is Skippy, the game. Till next time.